Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Lydia and today I want to show you how to make homemade pumpkin cinnamon rolls. Yes, you heard correctly. We're making pumpkin cinnamon rolls at home. Super delicious. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you consider subscribing and let's just get right into the recipe. So if you want to make this recipe, start it the night before. That's what I'm trying to say. So the night before, add in your flour to a very large bowl and your yeast and your salt. Make sure your yeast and your salt are not touching. Just make sure they're on opposite sides, just so the salt doesn't accidentally kill the yeast, because that would not be good. And then just combine the yeast with the flour and then the salt and you should be totally fine. And then in a large saucepan, well, it doesn't have to be that large, add in your milk and your water, and hopefully you melted your butter. Now I didn't, so that was a huge fail on my part, but everything worked out fine. So add all that in, add in your honey, and warm up everything until it is at blood temperature. Blood temperature just basically means the temperature of your finger, so it shouldn't be hot and it should not be cold. Just blood temperature. It should be cozy, you know? And then add in your 2 eggs. Just whisk them before you add them to your milk mixture, like I am doing here. I cracked them in a little measuring cup and then I added those to my wet ingredients and I just combined everything. Make sure you're not scrambling your eggs because that's not what we're going for. Add your wet ingredients to your dry ingredients. I'm using a wooden spoon to combine everything, and you'll notice that your dough is super sticky. That is what you want. So once it looks something like this, you want to cover it with plastic wrap and allow it to rest at room temperature for around 2 hours. After 2 hours, I want to show you what it looks like. It should have doubled or tripled in volume. So I'm going to peel off my plastic wrap just to show you guys. It should be like bubbly and beautiful and smell yeasty. So go ahead, cover it back up or keep it covered. Place it in the refrigerator for 8 hours or overnight like I am doing. So I went ahead and placed it in my refrigerator, let it rest. I took a nap or I went to sleep. And then the next day I went ahead and pulled it out of the refrigerator bright and early in the morning. And it should be, of course, lovely and bubbly. And if you peel it back, you should see the layers or the strands of gluten forming. Oh, this is so delicious. You can smell the honey and the yeastiness from the yeast. So flour a clean work surface and plop your dough straight onto it, and flour the top of your dough as well, just because it is a super sticky dough. Now you can use your hands to kind of get it into a rectangle, and in a perfect rolled, I would, make a perfect rectangle. However, I am just not perfect, so I wasn't able to roll or use a rolling pin to roll it out perfectly, but I'm sure you guys are going to do a way better job than me. Mine is totally crooked. Just make sure it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. To a small bowl, add in your pumpkin puree, your brown sugar, and your pumpkin spice and mix that all up. Then add this all to your dough and just smooth it out onto your dough. Make sure it's nice and even. Leave a border around the edges. And like I said, of course, my little dough is not perfect, like a perfect rectangle, but that's okay. So starting with the long edge, the one that's closest to you, roll it up. Make sure you don't roll it too tight because you don't want the centers to pop once you bake it. And if the dough is kind of sticky, just use some flour to unstick it from your work surface. And you'll notice that your log kind of gets longer and longer. This is because it has pumpkin in it and it's kind of wet and it's soft. So just pull it towards you, just be gentle with it. And using floss or a serrated knife, cut into 1-inch pieces. I love the floss, it works really beautifully. And then to a deep dish baking dish that has been lined with parchment paper. I know mine isn't, I kind of forgot. Add your cinnamon rolls to it and they should look something like this. You'll get around 14 of them, give or take. Wrap it with some plastic wrap. You can use a kitchen towel, but you might get it dirty. Let it rest for an hour. They should be slightly puffy, kind of like this. They look kind of good. I mean, they're not baked yet, so don't judge me. So after an hour, make sure you bake them in a preheated oven. And while they're baking, again, bake them for 30 to 35 minutes. That is super important. Don't over bake them. So while they're baking, add in your cream cheese, your sugar, your room temperature butter, and your vanilla. Make sure your cream cheese is at room temperature and mix it all together. I use the fork just to combine the powdered sugar, and then I use this hand mixer just to get everything nice and creamy and lusciously looking. So once it looks something like this, you see how creamy that is? You're in business. Now you might be thinking to yourself, it's not enough, you know, glaze or frosting or whatever. No, it's perfect. But if you don't think it's enough, just double it, okay? I'm not going to judge you. So by now, your cinnamon pumpkin rolls should be done. You pull them out of the oven. Again, don't over bake them because you do not want them to be over baked. Pull them out of the oven, allow them to cool slightly, and then you want to glaze the tops with this lovely mixture. Make sure you get every nook and cranny. I know that some people like to just drizzle it on top. Hey, I'm not that kind of gal. I like my cinnamon rolls or my pumpkin rolls to have this lovely glaze everywhere. I know if you just drizzle it on top, it looks more beautiful. I get it. However, I just love the glaze. I love to know that I'm eating, you know, pumpkin cinnamon rolls or cinnamon rolls in general. I know it's not that pretty, but it's super delicious. So now it's time to serve. Now, I was super nervous about cutting into these pumpkin cinnamon rolls because, like I said, I didn't add parchment paper to my baking dish and I didn't know how they were going to come out. So I was a little nervous. So here I am holding my breath and using my little spatula to go around and cut it. And as I'm holding my breath, I'm going to try to do my best to get a clean first piece, and you guys all know the first piece is the hardest. So here I am holding my breath. I hope you guys are holding your breath with me as well, and voila, just like that, I was able to get a clean cut. I don't know how that happened, you guys. That totally surprised me too. I don't know, it's just so beautiful. It's nice and clean, and then you see that pumpkin, delicious. So now they don't look that pretty. Like I said, if you just kind of like drizzle the glaze on top, they'll look way more pretty. Okay, you guys hear the way I'm talking? I can't even speak properly. Anyways, I love these pumpkin cinnamon rolls. They're super pillowy, they're soft. I love the dough. I just think it's perfection. These pumpkin cinnamon rolls, they have kind of like a pumpkin cheesecake flavor to them just because they're a little tangy from the pumpkin. I love them. I think they're so delicious. You guys, if you need the recipe, make sure you check out the video description. The full recipe with everything is down there so you guys can check it out. Make sure you give this video a like. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel because I know a lot of you guys are not. So hit that little subscribe button. It's not that hard, and you guys can watch all of my other videos and my future videos. I hope you and your families are having a wonderful time of the year, whether it's spring or fall. Hopefully you guys are all happy and safe in your little corner. Are you guys ready for me to open it? Look at that. I just love breaking into these pumpkin cinnamon rolls. They're so much fun. Okay guys, I'm gonna let you guys over here. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.